Okay, next we have a quick tweet from Theo that I thought might be interesting to talk about and just think a little bit. So he's been saying he's been thinking about this for months, and he has a pretty clear vision of a new cloud that he wants to build, and he has zero faith in anyone else to build it, but he really doesn't want to do it, which is classic Theo. I kind of believe him, that you don't want to do these big projects, but it's like if no one's going to build it the way you need, then you kind of just have to execute on it. And he does have a very unique and talented way of approaching these things, in my opinion. But I think it's just cool to kind of think about and contemplate what the kind of status is of IAC. We haven't really seen, at least in my experience, haven't seen much leaps recently in terms of like how we went from basic messaging to long-lived agents. We kind of haven't had that jump with IAC. Like you could still generate IAC and then have it run like the CDK commands or Terraform or SST or any of those other kind of competitors that help you launch infrastructure as code. But it's one of those things where it's like, are you really going to trust an agent to have access to your database or even like be able to stand up your database? But then you have issues like the Amazon Kiro incident that we talked about like maybe a year ago now or 6 months ago, where basically one of their agents like decided to wipe out a whole environment to like kind of stand it up again to debug. So it's really scary. It's hard to trust that these agents are going to manage your infrastructure in a way where like the code itself is kind of sandboxed and safe compared to like a production database. It's hard to trust it to act on it in the same way. So I do think there is a future cloud that is like agentic driven. Railway has been trying to do this because they have a good CLI. Vercel also has a good CLI, but Railway is having a major outage as we speak right now, and people don't really trust them as much, but I do think they're kind of well positioned. Obviously, they have their UI as well, which is kind of one of those things where it's like maybe the agentic cloud won't even have a UI or it'll just be a read-only UI, whereas Railway has built their write-driven UI. But nonetheless, I do think this is going to be tackled at some point because we do need reliable databases. It is still kind of annoying to use Docker to set up VPSs. Maybe you could argue, though, from like a Peter Levels perspective, that agentic systems actually make it so you don't need a hosted cloud or a managed cloud. You can kind of just use VPSs yourself, and then you use Docker, etc., to build your own deployment systems, which I do think is valid. So definitely something to think about. For me, I'm using Convex still for my new projects. I think it's really good. They kind of give you a lot out of the box while still being pretty flexible, but obviously it is opinionated and they do have a lot of rules built in. So yeah, just something to think about.